Hello, everybody. This is Brett Davis Unleashed coming to you from beautiful IQ Podcast in Coronado, California. I have the legendary AJ with me today. I can't believe he's here. It's an amazing. Look at you. You look at your shield behind you. What's going on, AJ?
Yeah, this is my interface every morning. This is how I do my radio show now with my co-host. So very, very used to being on this screen.
It's such an honor to have you here. So what's for the audience who's not familiar, because our show goes across the world. It's not just San Diego. We have a huge following of people. And we also do pet adoptions, which I can hear some fans in the back.
Brett, do you want to start over? They'll calm down in a second. My wife just left, and I know they went ape crap. That was probably – it's up to you. But
you want to start over? I think we're fine.
Okay.
I love dogs.
Okay.
I dated a few in my younger days.
Well, I apologize.
About me too, though. It's good to have you, man.
Thank you, man. It's great to be here, and
So, tell the people a little bit about your show, AJ and Sara.
AJ and Sara, yeah. So, I was in terrestrial radio for 20 plus years. The last, I've been in San Diego since 2001, and like most talent, bounced from station to station. Earlier this year, I was part of a mass, downsizing of radio. They let thousands of people go in the course of a couple of months. And it had nothing to do with performance. The show was doing great. Station was doing great, but that's kind of the nature of radio now. And in normal times, I probably would have walked right across the street and gone somewhere else. But then the pandemic hit and station said, yeah, well, talk to us after this is over. So I'm not the kind of sit around and wait for that to happen. And I built my own radio station essentially. And so I do my show every day on my own platform. It's a full service music station. Sounds like a radio station.
I'm proud of you because a lot of people during this time are really just beat down and they don't know what to do. And they're like, you took the alternative route, which was to create your own show. And I think that's great. And I think it inspires people out there that you can find ways to get through this whole thing.
If there's ever been a time where we've all been challenged to adapt to the ways we do everything, much less how what platform you use to do your show. I mean, the way we do everything has changed this year, and it's been a great exercise in adapting and moving forward. So
tell me about your show. How long have you had it now?
So this new version we launched just in October. So it's, just getting its legs under it. And it's pretty darn fun to do again without a consultant telling me what I can or cannot do or how long I can or cannot talk. And
wait a minute, aren't you married?
Yes, but consultants are a whole nother beast.
You're blushing, AJ.
Yeah.
I'm terrible,
huh? No, it's great.
So the show seems like it's doing very well. Tell us a little bit about Sara. Not my wife, by the way.
Yes. Sara and I were actually only teamed up a couple of years ago. We had known each other kind of peripherally, and, radio is kind of a game of musical chairs. So we both found ourselves with each other, and she's just absolutely great. I wish I'd worked with her earlier in my career and wouldn't be doing this with anybody else. And she's got a great sense of humor, and she's very real, and she's awesome.
So your show is on every day at the same time?
It's on every day from 7 to 9 live on ajndsara.com. And you can be listened to on demand also at ajndsara.com. We have our own app as well. It's the AJ and Sara Radio app. It's available for iPhone or Android devices, and you can listen there as well.
So how long have you had the app?
Back in October when we launched. That's why it took so long. I decided to do this in about March, and I woke up every day.
When COVID hit.
Yeah. And then I said, okay, well, I better make my own thing. And, I spent a few months waking up not with a to-do list. I had a to-figure out list because there was a lot to figure out because not a lot of people do this. I had to figure out how to legally play the music and then get the music and automation system and, a lot of things. And so it took a while and forming LLC, all the things you have to do. But once I had my app and had everything set up, October is when we launched. And I think that's where a lot of things are going. Radio is changing, but so is the world. And there's a lot of existing platforms. I think there's a lot of ways for people to reach their audience out without having a big antenna on a hill.
Well, I mean, you've proven that,
Yeah.
and you're having and the thing is, you're probably spending a lot of money on gas. You
Yes.
money on dry cleaning. But of course, in radio, nobody can see you anyway. So I mean, like right now, you're probably wearing Captain America boxers.
Yeah, well, now it's good on that level. And hey, if I knew a few years ago I could just wake up and walk in downstairs in my own office and do a radio show, that part's not bad at all.
So what have been the pros of having place like you're doing now?
Well, when I told Sarah, the heavy lift is going to be figuring out basically. And we did that. And the next really heavy lift is getting people to exist, because people launch radio stations. They spend tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars on billboards and bus boards and all of that. And we're not doing that. So that's the con, is that we have probably a lot of people that would love to listen to us that don't know we're doing this, and we're growing that over time with the help of our audience. But the pros are insane. I mean, the creativity level that's allowed in radio now is very, very low. And the connection we can have directly is, I think you'll see more people doing stuff like this as talent gets kind of chased out of terrestrial radio, and they realize they don't need that antenna on the hill anymore.
Yeah, I think it's going to make everything go to the next level. And the app thing is fascinating because that in itself is just, I can't even imagine what kind of challenge that was putting that together.
Well, full disclosure, when I had the idea, there's a company called Futuri Media that they would always come to whatever radio station I worked at and pitch their tools. And I thought, I'm kind of a geek, and there was really next level stuff, and I always wanted those tools. And so when I decided to do this, I said, I'm going to call that company and see if I can't work something out. And that's what I did. And so I didn't so much build a app from the ground up. They make these apps for real radio stations all the time. I worked with them to just make one for my quote unquote radio station.
And what's their name?
Futuri Media.
And they've known you for a long time.
Kind of. I mean, I'd see them once a year when they came to pitch, again, my radio stations, the tools that they would never get. But I was happy to have a kind of a partnership with them. And it gave me some really cool tools, not just for how I can broadcast my show, but tools for putting it together and things as well.
So the toy drive, what happened this year? Let's talk about that and how you pivoted.
Yeah, so I've done an annual toy drive since 2001. Started out as kind of a stupid radio stunt where I got up in a crane and I said, if you give me 10,000 toys, then I'll come down from this crane. And at that time, I was very new in town. Most people didn't know who I was nor care that I was in the crane, so it took a long time.
So you know what I want to say, AJ? It's better to be in the crane than in the closet.
That's absolutely. It's better to do it in San Diego than Detroit or half of the country. But anyways, that became the tradition. The next year we went for 20,000 toys, then 40,000. It grew a lot over time, and it was always kind of my benchmark thing. It still is the biggest toy drive for Rady Children's Hospital, which is a big hospital here in San Diego.
So you did 20,000 one year, and then you upped it to 30, and and how long a period of time were you able to get thousands and thousands of toys like that?
It was usually about a week.
Wow.
And we learned a lot about what works and what doesn't, and we got relationships with people that we could count on year after year to come out, and it really built. I mean, it became kind of a festival. I mean, we had Lady Gaga performing in an IKEA parking lot under my crane one year. We've had big comedians, acts who would come to town. It was really amazing. And when I knew I was going to build my own platform, I said, and this will allow me to do my toy drive, which is so important to me. And we set out to pull it off, and we did. We partnered with the local mall, and we had sponsors, and we were all ready to do it. I would actually be in the crane right now if it had happened. But when the stay-at-home orders hit, the logistics were fine, but we thought the optics were bad. Like, we could have still done it, but we thought being on the radio, begging people to come see me at a mall when during stay-at-home orders probably wasn't going to be the best look when we already had the infrastructure to do it as a virtual toy drive.
Well, I appreciate everything you do that you've done for the longest time. And I know you're just going to do more and more great things because you're a good person. I mean, I'm honored that you took the time to be with us. I mean, thank you for what you do and what you've done.
Oh, thanks, man. That really means a lot. It's been a weird year.
Yeah.
So you know, it's two kind of major things that hit at a inconvenient time. And I'm not complaining. We've all had a hard year, but having the change with my career in a normal year would have that's a problem that would have fixed itself. And with everything else, it's weird to kind of go into a holding pattern and kind of wait on the sidelines for things to go back to normal to really figure out the future.
AJ, I don't know if it's going to go back to normal. I think this is kind of the new now. I think there's going to be a lot of challenges and things. I mean, there'll be quiet times, but I think there's going to be a lot of things that maybe we were used to doing before. We're going to have to live differently. I think it's just a different time.
I agree with that. And that's why I held up the quote fingers when I said normal. I don't think it's all ever going to be 2019 again, where everyone's doing everything the same way. I agree with that 100%.
Everything has to be thought out more than before, when we were walking around just barefoot and, just enjoying ourselves. And, there's things that are involved now that we just have to think differently about. And it's not really a bad thing, because a lot of good things have come out of this too, haven't they?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think a lot of businesses are going to realize they could be doing things much more efficiently.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people have reached out of their comfort zone and done things they would never would have done otherwise. And
sure.
Yeah, I think a lot of good has come out of it for sure.
Well, look at you. You're becoming a little mogul.
Well, thank you. That's why I did. One of the main reasons I did hey, I'm going to build my own streaming radio station instead of just I'm going to launch a podcast, was I figured it would be a masterclass in learning everything, and it would be easy to scale it down if that's what the numbers told me I should do. You know what I mean? So now I have a greater understanding of editing my own audio and running all of my own social media and all of these things that I can apply to a lot of different things, because I think the future of audio entertainment is definitely, it's not terrestrial radio. So wherever you go, you want to have a full toolbox.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And I think you have to be that way. So what does 2021 look for you, and what optimistic thing can you give the audience that you think you'd like to share?
I am hopeful that I think one of the slipperiest things to hold on to in life is perspective. I can tell you this. We had a health scare with I have two daughters. One of them was 9 years old. And she came down one morning in about April, and she had what looked like a sty on her eye. And we just joked about it. Oh, you have a sty. Those things go away. And it didn't go away. And finally, it seems silly to take her to the doctor for a sty, but it's not going away. So we took her to the doctor, and after several visits, all of the not scary possibilities were being bared away, and very scary possibilities were on the table. We were looking at leukemia. We were looking at brain tumors. And, every day during that, nothing mattered. Like, I didn't care if you cut me off in traffic, all that mattered was, is he's okay? And, and I would tell myself, after this is over, I'm going to hold on to this perspective. And thank God Izzy was okay. It ended up being a minor thing after literally a couple of months of waking up every day not knowing. And, a couple weeks later, I'm getting cut off at traffic and I'm swearing at the person, because that perspective is so hard to hold on to, that you can have in the moment. And with this year, I would love to think, God, how much are we all going to appreciate just be able to go to a movie again, or, just to walk into a crowded store without keeping a distance and having a mask on. And so much of the things we took for granted, taking my kids to a birthday party, I haven't taken them to a birthday party in a year. I hope the fifth birthday party I take them to, I'm as appreciative of that little experience as I am for the first. So long story short, we get perspective out of this, and I hope we can hold on to it.
And possibly even be nicer to each other as a country.
Exactly.
As people.
Exactly.
Get our footing back and realize that, there's nothing wrong with stopping. We can be different. We can disagree. But if we disagree, it's okay that we're different, and we can respect the fact that we are different and just be nice to each other.
Absolutely. We need more of that. A lot more of that.
We do. And I do think it's going that I do think will come back. I think it's, I think we, as a human spirit in the United States, I think people, we've been through challenges before and we found ways out of it. And I do believe that we will again, So anybody out there aspiring to do a podcast or a show, what first type of advice, first steps would you give them to do that?
Do it. I have a lot of my radio friends that have been out on the beach too, and I talk to them all the time. I'm gonna do something like that one of these days, and 4 months later, they're still thinking about doing it one of these days. Get in the game, and figure out your angle, and realize that another big realization I've had creatively this year and working with my friends is, this is not an original saying. There is a saying though that the two reasons people will give you for not doing the thing you want to do is it's been done before or it hasn't been done before. Right. So almost any idea you have is going to apply to one of those. Well, I want to do a show about sports, but there's so many sports shows. Well, someone else is going to have the next great sports show. Don't talk yourself out of your idea. It only takes a little bit of a different angle to make an unoriginal idea, like I'm going to do a sports show, into an original idea. I mean, the best example, I don't know if you know this viral YouTube sensation, started on YouTube. I think it's on regular TV. It's hot. It's where the guy interviews celebrities and they eat hot chicken wings.
I haven't seen that.
It's super compelling because they're suffering through trying to answer these questions, and these wings are getting hot, and he's getting A-list stars on there. And the first part of his pitch is, I'm going to do a show where I interview celebrities, which is good luck, buddy. Everyone in the world does that. And that little tweak, but I'm going to make him eat hot chicken wings, and he's an absolute sensation. So it just takes a little tweak to turn I shouldn't do this because it's so unoriginal into something very original.
I think it's great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hopefully it has a lot of things for the stomach, and when they get their stomach aches from all
absolutely.
I see. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
What's a good website? Is it ajandSara.com?
It's ajandSara.com. You can find everything there, and of course, we're on all the major social media places. And in the new year, we'll be pushing out on Spotify and YouTube, and we're on YouTube, but Spotify and iTunes and all the places podcasts are. We've kind of rolled things out a little bit at a time because we're kind of a 1 or 2 man show. And so every time you go to approach a new platform, it's like, all right, how does this one work? How do I interact with that? So I've wanted to put most of my focus into doing the show and putting it out there over time.
Well, it's been great having you on the show. I love watching you work, and I'd love to work with you on some projects and see if we can help you get more toys next year.
I would love that. I think what you're already doing is where things are going. I think there's just nothing but evidence that wherever you look that, it's an exciting time. I compare where we are with audio to where TV was right before cable came out. When it was pre-cable, you had to have a big hit show because you had to have a massive audience. And once you could have whole TV stations about cooking and whole TV station, networks about cartoons. And when people were able to throw things out, I mean, who would have known they'd have hit shows about crab fishermen, or these niche things that you would never have tried during the network TV days.
I've never had crabs.
Well, good for you. Me neither.
My wife's not paying attention to me. She's just totally engrossed with what she's doing. See, AJ gets it. Never mind. Well, I appreciate you being on IQ Podcast, and thank you so much. And keep going, and I look forward to watching your show. And it's on the same time every day if I go on the website.
Yeah, well, it's 7 to 9 for now. In the new year, it's going to go from 8 to 10. I'm making some adjustments, but we're in this weird sweet spot between what's a podcast and what's a streaming radio show. But we're figuring it out.
Well, yeah. I mean, how many years were you in radio?
Most of my adult life. I did a stand-up comic, then a radio guy.
Yeah, I can see the stand-up comic in you.
Thank you. No, that was my origin to radio. How I got to radio was through doing that first, and then trying to find a way to do it without driving around the country all the time.
So, with your new station that you have, would you ever do anything with comedy again?
You mean me actually doing a comedy?
Yeah.
I don't know that I have that desire anymore, but I would love to do comedy content. So yeah, I have lots of ideas.
I would love to see you do some stand up on your show. I think I think that would be phenomenal.
It's fun. That might be fun. It's been a while, but
yeah, but it's like riding a bicycle. Just make sure the seat's on.
Yeah. I did both until I came here. Yeah, in my last radio job previous year, I was still doing both. But when I came here, if it's the early 2000s and you're coming to San Diego to compete with Jeff and Jer and Dave Shelley and Chainsaw and the kind of shows that were on here back then, it seemed like my 26-year-old ass better get off the stage and concentrate on my radio show.
Well, thank you so much, AJ, for being on the show. And again, that's AJandsara.com. I look forward to watching the show. I'm going to sit down one of these times and stop moving because I think I have ADD a little bit, and just drink my my hot chocolate and watch your show.
Anytime. We're there every day.
Okay, AJ, thank you for everything you do.
Brad, thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Okay. And I'd like to thank my sponsor, Attorney King Amanpour, for his support at it. Of course, we have Attorney King Studios because of him. Thank you. I also like to thank Indian Motorcycle of San Diego. I'd also like to thank the gym, George Jackson, for all his support. I would also like to thank Indian. Did I say Indian Motorcycle? I did, didn't I? I'm wearing the hat. I guess I just keep plugging Indian for everything they do. And to Saquon for the support. Thank you, Saquon, and thank you, Cody Martinez. And for everybody out there, wish you the very best and take care.